This car you see here started as a whole different story. I was even losing my hope on this project until the recent update. I changed a couple of things on the design on 3D and I'm very happy right now how it looks. Of course, keep in mind that it's a work in progress, it's not a finished car or anything, but it looks way better, it is promising, so I'm excited to continue on this project. Welcome to episode 5 of Designing My Dream Porsche. It is going a little bit slow, it has ups and downs. As I said, I was even losing my hope on this project, but we are back. Finally, the whole concept is visible for me. It's going nicely on 3D. But let's go back a little bit to see how it started. So it all started with a sketch. Probably you heard this sentence many times about many design projects, and it's for emphasizing that the core idea is done on the sketch. It was empty sheet of paper and now it became the whole car and etc. But in my case, it started as a sketch because I was planning to make a video about like a full-time sketching video type of thing. And then I was like, okay, why not to make a why not to make a project out of it? So I was like, let's pick one of these sketches and make the whole 3D and so on. Let's make a project. It was all good. I selected this sketch. I still like that sketch. I think it has a potential. It can be developed further. But then I decided to find a bit more catchy title for YouTube. And I said, Designing My Dream Porsche. And it changed everything because I started to feel emotionally attached to this project too much. I felt too much pressure, totally unnecessary because it's even a personal project. It's not even for a company or anything. So it was like very ups and downs during the process. I'm going to show you soon. So here I wanted to mention, if you're a design student or like a young designer, it is sometimes tricky to emotionally attach to your project that much. So be careful about that. So this was end of the first episode. I had this sketch and I thought that will be the project. But then on the episode 2, I started to question already what is even my dream Porsche, because I was still sketching to understand better, like because when you say it's your dream car, you start to go a bit deeper on your thoughts. And for example, I love all the Porsches probably. I love Cayman, like this compactness of it, this still like true sports car, two-seater, nice. 911, also iconic. I love that car, of course. But when I say the dream Porsche, it gets a little bit more tricky because I think I like more the dream is more like a Carrera GT or Porsche 918. A bit more extreme side of it, a bit more like dream, like a bit more than the regular Porsches. I'm not saying 911 is not a dream car or even Cayman, but I thought for my personal dream Porsche, it should be a bit more like supercar, hypercar type of direction. Then I went to episode 3, but I was already getting some comments online, some feedback from other people like yourself. And it is a very tricky situation, I have to say. Because when I see a comment like, oh, this is not Porsche at all, I take it serious. I mean, it's so tricky because it can be Porsche or you can say it's not like a Porsche, and it's the line in between is very thin. Because maybe you are pushing the concept too much, but it doesn't mean it's wrong, because Porsche doesn't mean the existing models copy-paste. It's not like that. I mean, look at the new concepts like Mission X or the Gran Turismo concepts. They are definitely pushing the current language, like progressively developing the design language, right? So I was like, okay, there's nothing wrong with pushing. I can be more organic. I can change the surface language more. But then when I see a comment, I'm like, okay, maybe I should a little bit tune down this and I should get a bit more like regular reflections, regular surfaces. I should focus on this. So episode 3 was a little bit of fighting between those because I now know that I go into hypercar direction, but what type of design language, form language, what type of theme I want in my car was basically episode 3. I had different front ideas, rear ideas, and the side view idea. And for example, this is one of them. And I felt like, okay, this is like a good direction because I felt like it's correct. It was a bit too safe. Like I can say it's a Porsche and I can develop into this direction, but honestly, it looked too conventional. It was still not satisfying about like the vision, the dream Porsche. It can be dream in a traditional way, I would say. So on episode 4, I decided to jump into 3D, create like a base volume in Blender and put it into Viscom from different angles to generate some ideas, also to push my creativity this way and also visualize the model without finishing it. By the way, this video is sponsored by Viscom. If you are not aware, it is an AI platform which supports your creativity and your efficiency while designing. Soon I will show you how it affected this project in a very positive way, and also this image you see here is also generated by Viscom, and you can try yourself for free at viscom.ai. So back to the episode 4. At the end, I decided this side view was like my final. I thought I will take this, I will 3D model and it's done. I still like it, honestly. I like the silhouette. It feels quite compact, like very nice packaged and forward-leaning cabin, and it looked pretty nice, like the overall feeling of the car. But when I tried also from other angles, like the front perspective, when I look back now especially, it looks really super fat and like a blob. Like I was trying to keep these nice surfaces, regular reflections. It was more of my focus. And also for the rear. And I didn't invest enough time to find this more unique, more pushing the boundaries type of ideas. And now on episode 5, I can say that I'm getting so much happier. And you can see the 3D development from the first one until the now. On the previous episode, this was like a base 3D model. The proportions were getting there somehow, but as you see, everything is super flat, super shy, like just, of course, it's a super beginning part of the 3D modeling. And it was like 40 minutes to build this and play around with the proportions. But still, when I look back, it was very shy compared to what we have now. So I was playing around with 3D because designing in 3D, I think, is today's definitely process. It's not anymore like you sketch something and go to 3D to finalize it. It's more like designing on 2D, jumping into 3D, coming back to 2D. So everything is mixed. So here I was pushing the idea further. Like I was thinking, what if I cut here the front fender? You know the air outlets on GT3 RS, for example? I was like, what if I exaggerate it further and it becomes more like a super aerodynamic car, a little bit like I think Aston Martin Valhalla, when they did it first, I was like, wow, like it's super cool idea. The body comes here, opens the front fender, you can even see the wheel or the suspensions and everything. So I was like, what if I push through more this lightweight direction? So I'm gonna show you a couple of renders from this stage. Then we will jump to final version. All right, it started like that. By the way, if you're not confident with 3D modeling, if you have no idea about Blender 3D, if you didn't use it before, you can learn it from my own Blender Beginners for Car Design course. And if you know Blender up to some point, but if you want to speed up, if you want to learn more advanced techniques, for example, if you cannot model this car confidently, you can learn it from my Blender Advanced Car Design course. Details for both of the courses are on my website, berkaplan.com. I mean, I had to mention my courses because I really love Blender, how flexible it is, and how helpful to my design process. So I had to mention my courses if you need the help. If not, let's continue. Already on these renders, you see that proportions are getting better compared to the first one. Of course, still it's a bit awkward because it's not a finished model. And I was experimenting with this double color idea, but still it's quite traditional. So on this one, actually, I even pushed further. I was like playing with the surfaces, stretching some faces in Blender to like find some unique ideas in 3D. And of course, I wanted to put these little fins like the Porsche 917, but still it felt traditional, especially the front is like a very simple cut. I mean, it was only for like a placeholder, but still it started to feel a bit too complex now. It looks like a fish here. Everything is a bit too organic and so on. And I was still trying to be safe. I was still trying to add ideas so that people can say it's still Porsche. Then I decided it's a little bit too much, so I dialed back a little bit and I decided to play around with different air intake ideas here, air intakes and outlets. Like maybe an opening here, and then also the air from the headlight area can come and get out from the side and so on. I was just experimenting on 3D and I enjoy it a lot because it's like sketching in 3D. The front is also placeholder for now. It's like a big gap here. But when you are kind of satisfied with the overall proportions, like overall surfaces of the car, we go back to 2D, sketch over to find ideas again for the details and refine the model further and further each step. Here you see this huge volume on the back. It kind of reminds me again this 917, because for me, again, the dream, I wanted to go with the hypercar type of approach. And this is the tricky point. Now, okay, we reached to the point that I'm really excited about, because I did this render and I was still not convinced yet. I was still not satisfied because I was not sure how to like connect the surfaces. Okay, it's like, if you look at this surface, I mean, I would say it's a Porsche surface. You can put it on a Porsche because it's like a regular reflections, nice surface quality and so on. So I wanted to put it on Viscom to like get different ideas also, like to first of all to visualize it, because when the model is not finished like this, I wanted to see how it would look like as a render. And also I was curious, what can Viscom give me? Maybe it can support my creativity in a different way. And actually this angle, sorry, it's my bad. This angle is the one that changed everything, because here is the same car that you just saw, like the same stage of the model. But when I put it on Viscom, the first result was this. That was my goal, like to get like how it would look like. Some details are filled up. For example, here is not gap anymore. There's the highlight catcher or like a fin coming out. Nice surfaces, of course, nice colors. I love it. Even filling up some rear design here because it was empty on the render. So I like it. But I was like, what if I add a bit more like freedom? If I give a bit more creativity to Viscom? And this was the result, and I fell in love with it. Of course, not everything is sold, all the design elements, no, but the side especially, I was like, it looks cool. Isn't it? Like, I like how it looks. It is more brave, it is more fit. It's not this fat looking surfaces here. It's more fit, dynamic. I just love it. And of course, part of me was saying, but is it really Porsche, or is it more like an Aston Martin or Ferrari or whatever brand comes to your mind? But then I was like, it's my dream Porsche. It's my own personal project. Plus, if it looks that good, I mean, if I like it that much, why not to try it? You know, that's the whole idea of design, or the whole idea of creativity. If you find something nice, just try. Just be brave and push this idea. At the end, I don't know how it will go or what will happen to it, but I was like, okay, I like it and I want to try. So then that's where everything changed. I put it on 3D on Blender, and immediately everything started to get shape better. It's not exactly the same. Like if we see here, not all the reflections are totally the same, but it gave me the idea of this positive surface going inside and getting out again to reduce some weight from the side of the car. It was definitely like a strong starting point. And then I started to reduce the weight from other parts as well, like from this area, rather than keeping it totally flat. I wanted to do this continuity from this inner part going outside also a little bit, but not as sharp as inside. So I put a bigger fillet here. So it's more like the cover, and inside is more like this sensual part, very sculpted part, let's say. The side of the car, this inside part of the car. And outside we have like a shell, like a bit of different character, a bit more traditional maybe character of the surfaces, and combining them together. Here are some different angles, and of course not everything is solved yet, but that's why I'm saying the concept is here and it is developing. And I think my dream one would be the black version. And as they have like these two different parts of the car represents two different ideas, like this inner part, this side part, let's say, can be more glossy or metallic black to show the sensuality of the surfaces. And the other one, which is kind of covering it on the back, can be the matte black, to more protective, a bit more mechanical, a bit colder feeling. And the side of the car also some adjustments happened. Still some things can be changed on the proportions, but I like overall how smooth is the cabin. It's like, to me it's a Porsche silhouette, and I can see that when I develop this car further, it will fit to Porsche language. I mean, it will fit to Porsche lineup, but in maybe a bit more futuristic way, let's say, or maybe let's call it an experimental way, because futuristic can be tricky here to say, but it's more experimental Porsche design, let's say. And on the front, as a base starting point, I connected them this way. So this side fender, let's say, like the side of the car and the front wheel fender are like two different pieces coming together to the car from the side and connecting to the core. And I quite like it. I'm very curious, what do you think? And also from this angle, it reminds me something, but I couldn't quite figure it out. I mean, you can say many cars look alike to each other, but which car or what does it remind you, this separation? Is it like exactly the same of another car, or it is just reminding? That's what I'm trying to understand. So let me know in the comments, what do you think overall about this concept? Here's like a little comparison screenshot render, let's say. And again on 3D, I am quite happy with how it goes. Like especially compared to the previous versions, like this two already looks super old and super conventional, super boring compared to what I have here. I'm very excited about it. There are many problems to solve. It doesn't mean it's finished. Like the connection of the different surfaces, different elements to each other. I don't even have any rear yet. It's totally empty here, so it will be more sketching and ideations going on there as well. And also on the front, like for now that's the idea, but I think after some sketches I will push the headlight area more further. I repeated a lot, but I'm excited because finally like the project excites me again rather than being scared of it. So I will, I think, go with it faster. And when I finalize this design, by the way, this model will be part of my Blender Advanced Car Design course, not as a tutorial, because after watching the Blender Advanced Car Design course, you can easily model this car as well. So there's no reason to repeat as a tutorial, but I have a bonus cars section in this course. I'm uploading the models more I do, so this car will be part of the bonus models you can download and you can go into details of it. But for now, quick take a look, it looks like this, the topology. Nothing so crazy, some bevel modifier, and the vertices and the topology is not so regular as you see. But also on this reflections, I was more trying to get into the reflections rather than like a good topology or the good surface quality here. But it ended up pretty well anyway. Like this sensual part of the car, I think is more experimental and a bit pushing my own approach, let's say. Maybe that's why I quite like it. It's quite exciting me when I'm trying something new. So I hope you like it. As I said, please let me know in the comments what you think about this car, how this project is going on. And if you are new to the channel, by the way, and if you watched the video until here, it's very nice to see you. Don't forget to subscribe for more car design content, and see you in the next one.